Anyway. Good morning, tip practice for September. My name is Sian, and I'll be giving a speech on my experience interpreting for the Toronto International Film Festival, also known as TIFF. Well, here is a passage from my interpreting diary. As an interpreter who have now hundreds of conferences done and dusted, ranging from high finance to trade negotiations, I still believe that film festival on stage consecutive is one of the most challenging and, of course, rewarding projects for a professional conference interpreter. We must walk a tightrope between form and function, between making way and taking space, and we must have impeccable judgment as to when to spring to action and when to remain silent in the background. So imagine lights, cameras, and two directors' life's work on stage needing to be interpreted by you. Imagine live streams, your colleagues, your students, all of them looking at you, a room of 500 people. Yes, the stress is real when you're interpreting on stage for a film festival. And I prep for hundreds of hours for a single moment on stage. However, when the TIFF CEO, Cameron Bailey, looked up and told me the interpretation was stellar, I think it was all worth it for me in that moment. Not because of the external validation, but it was a way for me as a professional interpreter to show what interpretation could do. That is bridging worlds and cultures. Okay, I'll go into some of the top challenges interpreting for such a major film festival. By the way, TIFF is one of the top 5 film festivals in the world. So if you are from Toronto, you should be very proud of this fact. The first challenge is you have a tough crowd to please. Oh my God. First of all, your audience. They are made up of cinephiles, and they are not normal people. They are regulars at film fests. They could be geeky film students, art enthusiasts. Some of them are diehard fans of the talent you're working with. And certainly many of them will be bilingual and will be judging your work. It's obviously easier to think they can do a better job than you because they're just listening. They don't understand that you're processing all that information in the background. And then the second crowd that's hard to please is the director and cast, because this is their baby. They've been blood, sweat, and tears through this for years. For example, the movie Frida, one of my favorites, took 10 years to make. So this at the film festival is the ultimate outcome of that hard work. And it's their moment of glory. It's the big unveil. The solution for this would be to prep and prep some more. You have to look at their past work, their influences, their cinematic influences. I have 10 tabs worth with hundreds of entries. This time around, I interpreted for a very renowned Chinese director called Jia Zhangke. If you don't know the spelling, that's okay. I'll put in the chat later on. He's extremely renowned in China and abroad. And I even bought his book written by a French critic. That's the extent of your preparation that you may need to do for that one sentence on stage. The second challenge is your work is going to be scrutinized under the microscope, or in this case, the limelights. The reason that it's also difficult is there's an added layer of stress because you're exposed on stage. You will have lights blinding your eyes. You will be standing, not sitting. You'll have to juggle your microphone, your pen, your notepad. You'll have to control the tremors in your hands, and you have to do public speaking. So you're no longer in the safety of your booth. You have to perform a little bit. And that's why it's very stressful, and you have to be able to withstand that kind of pressure. The third challenge, I would say, is that all of your skills, all of your interpreting skills will be put to the test. But most importantly, your human skills will be put to the test. You'll have to do, of course, long consecutive. The longest stretch I had to do was 4 minutes. And that's when I was glad I went to interpreting school. But most importantly, the soft skills is what matters. You have to know where to stand. You should not be, for example, standing too close, too in front of the director, but then you should also know where to move. You should know when it's appropriate to maybe help your talent get a glass of water, even though that's not your job, right? You're not a secretary, but maybe that's what's needed. You should also know what not to do. You should not ask for photos prematurely because it makes you look unprofessional. Right. At one of the award ceremony, I looked up and down strolled Angelina Jolie and Tilda Swinton. You cannot be starstruck because your main role is still to interpret for your talent. And that's the hardest part, right? Hard skills are easiest to skill someone in, but soft skills is a whole other story. You have to have good judgment, essentially. So in conclusion, most film festivals I've seen were a bit of a curate's egg of a performance from the interpreter's part. Acceptable, but unconvincing. And most tragically, unmoving. So as a professional conference interpreter, I thought it was a good challenge for me to accept this high risk, high reward type situation. And I hope you get the chance to try it too. Thank you.